Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. We're back from our miserable experience in the Soviet Union last week and headed to somewhere hopefully warmer anyway. We're headed back to the Marvel Comics universe to play Marvel Champions. Once again, we're trying to defeat a villain from the Marvel Comics universe before either the villain defeats us or the villain advances through its main scheme. So this playthrough is going to be a little different from my first playthrough because now I'm starting to get more comfortable with the game. So we're going to feature two custom decks I've built, links to which will be in the description down below. First up, let's go ahead and meet our villain. We're taking on the first villain in the Rise of Red Skull expansion. We're taking on Crossbones. He schemes for 1 and attacks for 1, but to note with his attacks, while he has a weapon attachment, his attacks gain piercing, so we discard any tough status cards from the target before dealing damage. I consider myself a craftsman. I specialize in destruction and terror. Then his first scheme requires us to set up the experimental weapons deck and set it next to the main scheme. And the first scheme we'll be looking at is Attack on Mount Athena. Crossbones is leading an army of Hydra soldiers in a direct assault on the Project Pegasus facility in the Adirondack Mountains. When revealed, reveal the top card of the experimental weapons deck. We'll do that when we move over to when we're finally getting set up. So needs 6 threat to advance, and we're putting 2 on per villain phase. So that's Crossbones. Now let's go meet our heroes. Our first hero that we're playing with today is, on her alter ego side, Aurora Monroe. I probably butchered the pronunciation, aka Storm though. She's got a hand size of 6 and 10 HP, which I've represented here. And then Aurora Monroe begins the game with a weather deck. See insert. I feel a storm coming. Setup. Choose a support from the weather deck and put it into play. And the support we're going to start with is Thunderstorm. It's a permanent effect. Each character gains +1 attack, and on special, deal 2 damage to an enemy. I don't know if the camera on my end blipped briefly. I don't know if that'll come through in the video. I just had my thumb trying to wipe a little bit of the spittle away from the camera. As you might recall, I've got Storm's encounter set down here. I won't go through every support in the weather deck until they become relevant. I also won't go through every card in her starting hand, but she will also be our first player today. So with that, let's move over and meet her partner in trying to defeat Crossbones. Storm's partner also starts in alter ego form by the name of Jean Grey. She'll flip into Phoenix, which being a channel called Phoenix Knight, not playing a hero called Phoenix at some point would have felt like a thematic fail. But on setup, put your Phoenix Force upgrade into play, restrained side face up, and place 4 power counters on it. Response. After you make a basic recovery, place 1 power counter on Phoenix Force. We'll go through that in a minute. She recovers for 3 like Storm. Hand size of 6, but only 9 HP. So taking a look at Phoenix Force. On the restrained side, it's a permanent. You gain the restrained trait. Forced response. After the last power counter is removed from here, flip this card. We'll detail what it actually does when it's flipped. And similar to what I did with Storm, I'm not going to go through Phoenix's opening hand, just because a fair amount of it is probably going to be played out during the game. But I think with that, we're just about ready to get started, but I want to move back up top to take a look at the new layout. I alluded to this last time we played Marvel Champions, but I wanted to have a more defined threat area in front of each hero. We're still going to have the space right here where encounter cards are going to be dealt out. Schemes are probably going to be just off shot, and we also need to reveal the first weapon attachment Crossbones has from the experimental weapons deck we find. Laser Rifle. Attached to the villain, +1 attack. Forced Interrupt. When the attached villain attacks, the attack gains ranged. As a hero action, so once again we have to be in hero form, spend a lightning and a combat resource to discard this card. So that will be attached to Crossbones. That's not going to cause too much interference, I don't think. So As long as we keep the weapons under control, which I think we're going to need to do. I think this will still work. I might have to extend down onto each heroine's respective playmat for the threat area, but I think this will probably work. So with that, we're all set up. Storm is going to be our first player, so let's drop down and get into trying to defeat Crossbones. I was just double checking one of our keywords. What the ranged keyword means, it ignores retaliate, which I'm not too terribly worried about right now. But we'll go ahead and get this show started, as we'll pay 3 resources right off the bat to play out Storm's cape. Storm gains +1 defense and the aerial trait. On a hero response, after you resolve the special ability on your weather support, exhaust Storm's cape to ready Storm. So we'll play that down here. Then we'll spend her last card in hand, which is a Wolverine, to play out Aurora's Garden. So while we're an alter ego, we can exhaust the garden to heal 2 damage from your identity. Let's go through the flavor text on that. I forgot there's flavor text there. The true measure of life is in the living. Storm. Speaking of which, we are going to go ahead and flip into Storm. Hand size of 5 on this side, 10 HP. Thwarts for 1, attack for 2, defend for 2. Weather control. As an action, swap your weather support in play with a support of your choice from the weather deck. Resolve the special ability on your weather support in play. Limit once per round. Okay, so Storm will then attack. I forgot to mention also that Crossbones has 24 HP. I set this up at 28 last night. Apparently I can't do first-grade math, but we are going to exhaust Storm to attack for 2 to bring Crossbones down to 22. Then I'm going to use her action, and I want to switch to let's switch to Clear Skies. So each character gains Stalwart, which would also clear any existing Confusion or Confuse or Stun status cards. The weather effect on here is we get to draw a card, so Storm will draw. A Clobber, which we might want to keep for next turn. I will exhaust the cape to ready Storm, so she can attack for another 2 and bring Crossbones down to 20. That's everything we can do for Storm's turn, so now let's move over to Phoenix. Like Storm, Phoenix is also going to flip right away, so we'll find Jean Grey flips into the aforementioned Phoenix. 5 hand size is what her hand size changes to. Thwarts for 3, so she might actually be decent at thwarting. 1 attack, 2 defense. Psionic Bond as a hero resource. Remove 1 counter from Phoenix to generate a wild resource, limit once per phase. And then remember, we remove 1 counter from Phoenix Force. How concerned are we about Retaliate right now? Or about ignoring Retaliate? Weather deck's not on Stalwart right now, so I'm actually not too worried about that, which means I might as well just start racing a bit. So I'm going to spend I'm going to spend a Relentless Assault actually to play 1 by 1 to deal 2 damage to an enemy. If this attack defeats an enemy, which it's not going to, deal 2 damage to an enemy. Lots of tricks up these sleeves, ladies and gentlemen. Moon Girl. So Crossbones will take another 2 and go down to 18. Then I will I'll remove a counter from Phoenix Force and pay an Into the Fray to play a Psychic Blast. Deal 4 damage to the villain. If you have the Unleashed trait and we don't, we deal 4 damage to each minion engaged with her. We fight on different battlefields. Your strength won't help you in mine, Phoenix. So that will bring Crossbones down right away to 14. And then we will attack for another 1 to bring him down to 13. And I think that will do it for Phoenix's turn. We will move back up top, heading toward the villain phase. Both of our ladies and Storm's cape will ready up. Storm will draw 4 cards because I'm happy with her hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oop, one too many. Okay, not sure how much I like this, but we can probably work with it. Phoenix will also stick with her hand. She'll draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Alright, so we're all set there, which means now we're into the villain phase. So Crossbones we'll put 2 threat up on Crossbones' main scheme, so it's up to 6. Storm is going to be attacked. She will... I think she will... She'll defend, actually, because I've got something of a plan here. She'll defend, so this will be 2 plus whatever this boost card reveals. We will find nothing, so Storm cancels out all the damage. Phoenix will also get attacked. She will also defend for 2 plus 1. So Phoenix's defense cancels out 2 of the damage, which means she goes down to 8. Then we deal out encounter cards. Storm's encounter card. Caught off guard. When revealed, discard an upgrade or support you control. If no cards were discarded this way, this card gains Surge. And one thing to note is Surge was actually changed in the last update to the Marvel Champions, where Surge now works exactly the same way as it does in Arkham. So you'd flip another card from the deck, and I will discard. I'll discard Aurora's Garden. I want to keep the cape if I can. And then Phoenix finds Hydra Sidearm attached to the villain. Forced. When the attached villain attacks, the attack gains ranged. As a hero action, spend a mental and a combat resource to discard this card. So that's an attack of 3. We might want to start dealing with some of these weapons, but first player will move over to Phoenix, and we will go into a new hero phase. Phoenix's turn isn't really going to be that interesting, so she's going to spend... This is an interesting decision, because on the one hand, I do want to keep the pedal to the metal on attacking, but on the other hand, I'm going to need to be on hero sides for most of the game, because we don't... Well, Phoenix could potentially do some thwarting, but... no, actually, I think we can work with this. So... I'll remove another counter from Phoenix Force and pay a... what do I want to pay? Well, what do I want to play is the next question. I think we will keep the pedal to the... no, actually, we're going to pay the Telepathic Trickery to play a Telekinetic Shield. Attached to a friendly character. Forced Interrupt. When attached character would take damage from an enemy attack, place that damage here instead. Then if there's at least 5 damage here, discard Telekinetic Shield, and I will attach that to... I'm going to attach that to Phoenix, actually, because she's got the lower HP, and I need her to be able to soak some damage. Then I think... I want to use this... Actually, I'd rather save this for later. That might be next turn, so I think that will be a very uneventful turn for Phoenix, mostly getting some defense into play for herself. So with that, we'll go ahead and move over to Storm. The first thing we'll do is we'll use Storm's Weather Control to switch this over to What do we want to be at now? I think we want to be at... I think we'll move to Thunderstorm, where each character gets +1 attack, and on a special, deal 2 damage to an enemy, which will hit Crossbones with that. Bring him down to 11. I'll exhaust the cape to ready Storm. Then I'll attack for another 2 to bring him down to 9. Whoop. There we are. Then I'll pay 2 to clobber Crossbones for another 3. Since this is the first card we've played, I do get to return this to my hand. So that'll bring Crossbones down to 6. Then I'm going to play Weather Goddess as a hero action. Swap your weather support in play with a support of your choice from the weather deck. Resolve the special ability on your weather support in play. The elements marshal their infinite might at my beckoning. Storm. Heading into Crossbones is heading into the villain phase, which we're going to be into after we come out of this. We're going to flip... I think we're going to move into Blizzard. Where each character gets -1 attack, and on a special, choose a non-elite minion. Until the end of the round, treat that minion's text box as if it were a blank, except for traits, except we don't have any minions to treat as if they were blank right now, so that doesn't do anything. More importantly, though, Storm is completely exhausted, so we're all done with her turn. Let's move back up top for the villain phase. Both of our ladies will ready up. Phoenix will take a look at her hand first. I am basically happy with her hand, so we'll draw 2 cards. Okay. I can probably work with this. And then Storm will draw... I'll dump one of her cards and draw 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I won't say no to that. Then 2 more threat is going up on the main scheme for Crossbones. He's attacking Phoenix, who will... we've got to remember that this is every attack here is -1. So right now Crossbones is attacking for 2 plus whatever the boost is. I think Phoenix will not defend. So she will take 3 total, which the 3 will go on the telekinetic shield that we played out earlier. Storm will also not defend, so 2 plus whatever this boost card is. That's 1 for 3, so Storm takes another... So Storm will take 3, go down to 7. Alright, then we have encounter cards. So Phoenix's encounter card. Hard as Nails. When revealed, give the villain a tough status card. If you can't, heal 3 damage from it instead. So Crossbones is now tough, which means we can't do any damage, which means next time you take any amount of damage, discard the card instead. Storm's card. Full auto. When revealed hero, discard the top X cards from the top of the encounter deck, where X is Crossbones' attack. Take 1 indirect damage for each boost icon discarded this way. Right now, Crossbones' attack is 2, because remember, we're on Blizzard's side. We're taking 1 indirect damage per boost icon. Indirect damage technically would have to be split among all the characters Storm controls, but since she's the only one, she's taking 1 damage per boost icon on these 2 cards. So we flip over 1 and 3, and I am not sorry at all to see Shadows of the Past go away. So Storm takes another 3, goes to 4. She might need to flip and heal this round, but Actually, what we can do here is we'll pay... how do I want to do this? Would I rather... Actually, no, I think we can do this. So, I'm going to pay the Clobber as a hero response to play You'll Pay for That. Actually, does that count as an attack? Discard X cards. I don't think that counts as an attack, actually, so we wouldn't be able to do that. Which might be fine. But, yeah, we wouldn't be able to do that. So, with that, though we are going to have to drop... I think we probably are going to have to flip and have Storm heal this round. But, speaking of Storm, let's make her the first player, and we'll drop into her play area. Storm isn't great at thwarting, but even a 1 thwart here, it will keep the main scheme from advancing this turn. Then we're going to pay a Strength to play out a Piercing Strike. So as a hero action on an attack, deal 3 damage to an enemy, and the attack gains Piercing. So we discard any tough status cards from the target before dealing damage, which means the tough goes away from Crossbones, and then we deal 3 damage. So Crossbones will go down to 3. Then we will... Then I'm going to use her Weather Control to change the weather. We're going to go to... We're going to go to Hurricane, actually. So as a permanent, each character gains Retaliate 1, and on a special, remove 2 threat from a scheme. So we'll remove 2 threat from the attack on Mount Athena, so that's back down to 1. Then we'll exhaust Storm's Cape to ready Storm, and we will... Can we get rid of one of those? No, well... No, we can't. Actually, yes, we could, technically. So I think I will discard the... So I think I'll discard a Clobber and a You'll Pay for That with the combat and energy resources to get rid of the laser rifle. We'll put that... I think that goes back in the discard pile for the villain. Then Storm will just thwart the last threat. Actually, no, I take that back. She's actually going to flip... And then she's going to perform a basic recovery to recover 3 health. This will make Crossbones scheme against her, but unfortunately, she's at 4 health right now, which was kind of a place that I was getting a little bit nervous with her. But that will do it for Storm's turn. Now let's move down to Phoenix. We'll remove another counter from Phoenix Force and pay a Browbeat to play Phoenix Suit. Phoenix also gains the Aerial trait. While you have the Restrained trait, you gain Steady. While you have the Unleashed trait, you gain Retaliate 1. So what the Steady trait means, the Steady keyword means, is it takes 2 of a status card to affect a character with a status effect. So if Phoenix were to get confused, she would need 2 status cards to get afflicted by it. Then what do we want to do here? I will... we're probably going to flip Crossbones next round. So I think just to get ready for that, I will have Phoenix attack for 1 to bring Crossbones down to 2. She'll take 1 damage back and retaliate, which will go on the telekinetic shield. I just want to make sure. Okay, I wanted to make sure the aerial trait didn't do anything during the game except as affected by encounter cards. That will do it for Phoenix's turn, I think. There's nothing else I want her to do right now. So let's move back up top for the villain phase. Everything will ready up, including Storm's cape. I'm happy with her hand, so we'll draw 5 cards because Storm is on her alter ego side. 4, 5. Oh boy, we'll probably end up doing a lot of damage here. Hopefully we can pay for Okay, no, I think we might be able to work with this. Phoenix is also happy with her hand. I think, yes, she will draw 2 cards. 1, 2. Okay. Yeah, we can work with that. Alright, so another 2 threat going up on Crossbones' main, going back up on the main scheme. Since Storm is on her alter ego side, and now Crossbones is scheming against her for 1 plus whatever boost icon we have here, which is another 1, so 2 threat, which means we have not advanced that yet. So we're up to 5 threat on the main scheme. He's attacking Phoenix, and Phoenix will not defend. So she's taking 2 plus. Nothing is 2 damage, but that's just enough to get rid of the telekinetic shield. So the telekinetic shield took all of it and did serious work for us this game. Dealing out encounter cards, Storm finds. Assault. When the revealed alter ego side, this card gains Surge. Die. Venom. Let's not. So Storm still has this card to deal with. Hydra Flame Soldier. Scheme of 1 attack for 1. Force response. After Hydra Flame Soldier makes an undefended attack against you, discard a support you control, and it has 4 health. And then Phoenix. Oh, right. Because he attacked Phoenix, Retaliate does go... no, actually it doesn't go off because of ranged. So Phoenix finds... Combat Knife. Attached to the villain. Attached villain's attacks gain piercing. As a hero action, spend mental and combat resources to discard this card. It's another +1 attack. Okay, so Phoenix is now our first player, and now we need to figure out how we're going to get through this. So I think we will move right into Phoenix's turn. Piercing is not something I'm keen on dealing with. I don't mind the ranged so much. So I'm going to pay a mental resource from White Hot Room and the last counter on Phoenix Force, which will be flipping in a second once we discard the combat knife. So now we'll see what Phoenix Force flips into. Permanent, you gain the Unleashed trait. Phoenix gets -2 thwart and +2 attack. Forced, after a power counter is placed here, if there are 4 or more counters here, flip this card. So Phoenix will... Phoenix will... What do I want to do here? Do I want to just flip Crossbones into stage... The question is, do I think Storm can take out the Hydra Flame Soldier on her own? And I think the answer is yes, she can. We might also be able to keep that scheme from advancing again. So... yeah. So the question now is, do I just flip Crossbones over to his next stage and start doing some serious damage? I think we do. So we'll get a head start on Crossbones as Phoenix will attack Crossbones for the last damage. While he's got any weapon attachment, he gains piercing. So actually the combat knife didn't do that much, but we will flip him over to stage 2. So we'll reset his dial in a second. Alright, when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for Crossbones' machine gun and attach it to Crossbones. Shuffle the encounter deck. Crossbones will reset to 28 HP. So 28. And then we need to find the machine gun. I was happy to see both obligations toward the bottom of the deck, but Okay, so it's probably in the... Wait a minute. Ah, there it is. Hopefully I can shuffle their obligations deep. Or get rid of them as boost icons. That would be even better. Attached to Crossbones uses 2 per player ammo counter, so it'll get 4. Forced Interrupt. When Crossbones attacks you, remove 1 ammo counter from this card and discard the top card of the encounter deck. Take indirect damage equal to the number of boost icons on the discarded card. Okay, so now we're going to pay 3 resources to play out Telekinetic Attack. As a hero action attack, deal 7 damage to an enemy. If you have the Unleashed trait, this attack deals 2 additional damage and gains Overkill. Poor fool, you have no idea how hopelessly outmatched you are. Phoenix. So actually, I think we will deal... Phoenix should have taken 1 back from Hurricane being in play for Retaliate. As for Phoenix's Telekinetic Attack, she will deal... she's actually dealing a total of 9 damage with Overkill. So I think we'll go 4 on the Hydra Soldier, just take it out, and do 5 to get a jump on Crossbones to bring him down to 23. And then that is it for Phoenix's turn, so let's move over to Storm. Looking at Storm's hand, as long as our draw isn't complete garbage, we can probably defeat Crossbones this turn. We can probably defeat Crossbones next turn, I should say. So we'll start by flipping it to Storm. Then we're going to attack for... Yeah, then we're going to attack for 2, which will deal Crossbones at 2 damage to bring him down to 21, and then Storm will take 1 back and retaliate down to 6. Then we're going to use her weather control, and we're going to flip into... Where is it? Here we go. Thunderstorm. I know I'm taking a calculated risk here. Each character gets +1 attack, and as a special, deal 2 damage to an enemy. So Crossbones will go down to 19. We'll exhaust the cape to ready Storm. Phoenix is still exhausted. Then we're going to pay 3 resources to play out a Lightning Bolt, dealing 8 damage to an enemy. Hero action attack. Deal 8 damage to an enemy. If Thunderstorm is in play, and it is, resolve its special ability. Do you know what happens to a villain when it's struck by lightning? Storm. Let's find out, shall we? Because Crossbones is taking a total of 10 damage from this, going down to 9. Then Storm will attack him. Actually, let's play... No, we'll just attack for 3 to bring Storm down, to bring Crossbones down to 6. Whoa, that's not good. Did not expect to have that fall out mid-video. Anyway, as I was saying, Crossbones is down to 6. So as long as Storm survives this turn, we should be able to kill Crossbones on her next turn. So I think that will do it for our turn, so let's move back up top for the villain phase. Alright, both of our ladies will ready up. Phoenix is completely hellbent right now, so she will draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll see what her hand looks like. Not much, but I don't think it's particularly going to matter. Storm will ready up as well. She is also happy with her hand, so she will draw 2 cards. One too many. Okay. Alright, so now we put threat on the main scheme, but we're going to be turning that over, so we advance. We'll see what 2A reveals to us. 2A reveals the Infinity Stone. Inside the Project Pegasus facility, S.H.I.E.L.D. agents fight desperately to prevent Hydra from obtaining the Reality Stone stored within. This flips into... Alright, when revealed, reveal the top card of the experimental weapons deck. We need 12 to advance, but we're starting with 2. So we'll get 2 threat there. And then the top card of the experimental weapons deck. The exosuit attached to the villain. Spend mental energy and combat resources to discard this card. I never should have shared my tech with S.H.I.E.L.D. Tony Stark. +1 scheme, +1 attack. Oh, yikes, this is bad. So I forgot to get the 4 counters out for Crossbones' machine gun. This is very bad. Alright, so looking at activations against the villain, Phoenix needs to defend. So she's defending for 2. Oh boy, this is 3, 4, 5, plus whatever this boost is. Hopefully don't be big, don't be big. If this card resolves during an undefended attack, discard a support you control. Phoenix defended against this attack, so no harm done there. So 3, 4, 5. Phoenix's defense cancels out 2 of it, so she takes... Right? Yeah, 5. So Phoenix takes 3... Goes down to 4. Storm... Storm definitely needs to defend here. So she cancels out 1. 4... She can take 1 boost icon, but not 2. That's a 1 boost. Okay, that's a relief. So... Okay, so that's 1, which is canceled out by her defense. So Storm goes down to 1. Come on. There we go. Joy, joy. Now for encounter cards. Storm desperately needs to survive hers, but Phoenix is up first. Phoenix finds... Crossbones' armor, attached to Crossbones. Forced interrupt. When Crossbones would take any amount of damage, place it here instead. If there's 5 or more damage here, discard Crossbones' armor. Bask in the glow, babe. Crossbones. Let's not. Then Storm's encounter card. When revealed, the villain schemes. Okay, we can deal with that. So Crossbones is scheming for 4 plus... Nothing doing here, so another 4 threat, which will bring that scheme up to 6. Okay, so Storm actually survived the villain phase, and she's our first player. The only problem is we need to get rid of that. The only problem, actually, after the villain attacked. No, that wouldn't have had enough threat to worry about at the time, so we're not going to go back to that here. What do I want to do, though? I need to get rid of Crossbones' armor before I can finish him off. I might actually need to flip and have Storm heal, unless Phoenix... What we need to do is we need to get through that armor, so we might have to flip and... We might have to plan on flipping and healing for a turn, but... Yeah, I think that's probably what we're going to have to do here. So, With that, let's move into the hero phase, and Storm will be our first player. Storm is going to use her weather control and move into... She's going to put us into clear skies, which means she'll draw a card. She will draw Piercing Strike as a hero action. We saw this earlier. More importantly, we'll exhaust Storm's cape to ready her up. Then, actually, do I want to do anything before we have her flip? Because she is going to be flipping and healing this turn. Our first problem is getting rid of that. Is going to be getting rid of that Crossbones' armor. So I think we'll pay 2 to play Clobber, which will do 3 damage to Crossbones, except it'll go on Crossbones' armor. So 3 damage on the armor. Then we'll pay 2 and do it again to get rid of the armor. Unfortunately, the attack didn't have overkill, but Crossbones' armor is gone, so we can try to take him out next round. Storm needs to flip and heal desperately, so that'll bring her up to 4. That'll bring her back to 4. That will do it for Storm. Now let's move over to Phoenix. Okay, I just realized that I forgot about Crossbones' machine gun. So Phoenix was first player, which means she should have flipped over an extra card. Wait a minute. What were the... Okay, so... Actually, I'm not going to worry about it now. I'll just do 2 flips this turn, because I don't think we're getting through... Actually, no, it's too late to rewind it now. I really derped on that, but like I said, I can't really do anything about that now. So I think all we're going to do here is we're going to flip into Jean Grey, and then that will do it for Phoenix's turn. So let's move back up top for the hero phase, or for the villain phase. So I actually made a pretty major mistake during the last villain phase. So I forgot that Crossbones' machine gun had come out when we advanced Crossbones into stage 2. So during the last round of attacks, I actually forgot to discard 2 boost icons, 2 boost cards for the attack. Phoenix's ended up being the... Phoenix's would have ended up being the Raid the Armory, which was for 1, so she would be down at 3. Storm's boost icon, however, would have been Crossbones' armor, which actually would have taken her out. So she would actually be eliminated from the game right here, which is rather unfortunate, but there's nothing we can do about that. Then Phoenix would have still had the Advance the Scheme, which wouldn't have done anything further to her. So now that we've got all that straight, that was a pretty big boo-boo, but I think we got it all fixed now. So Phoenix's turn ended up being, she just flipped, and now we're going to go ahead and ready her up. And now I definitely want to... Now I want to go digging for attack events. So it's a good thing I'm on her alter ego side, so I can discard 3 cards and I'm drawing 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think we can work with this, but we've got to see if we get through the game first. So 2 more threat going up on on the Infinity Stone, which will bring it up to 8, and then he's scheming against Phoenix for 3 plus 2 is another 5 threat. I had a forced... Okay, so another 5 threat, which actually brings that... Right? 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that actually flips that over as well. Storm still counts for all effects that count characters in the game. Hopefully this won't be too catastrophic, though, we find. The getaway. Hydra seizes the Infinity Stone, and Crossbones orders their withdrawal. You must stop them before they escape. Flips into... When revealed, reveal the top card of the experimental weapons deck. If the stage is completed, the players lose the game. We start off with one per hero threat, and we're putting 2 on every turn. So we start with 2 threat on there. And then Phoenix's encounter card, she finds Hydra Jet Trooper, Quick Strike, except we're not in Alter Ego form 2 attack. So that's fortunate there. I think we can put that that card there. But I don't think this is going to matter because we are now into Phoenix's turn. So let's move down to her play area. I don't think we need anything cute here at this point. Crossbones is at 6 HP, so Phoenix will flip. Then we'll spend 3 resources. We'll spend a Genius and a Power of Aggression for a telekinetic attack. So a hero attack deals 7 damage to an enemy. If you have the Unleashed trait, this attack deals 2 additional damage and gains Overkill. We are Unleashed, so just because we'll deal 3 damage to the Hydra Jet Trooper, and then the rest of it will go to Crossbones, which will bring him down to 0, and despite losing Storm midway through the game, based on a derp on my part, we actually have managed to win the game. So let's move back up top to wrap this video up. Through some pretty major oopsies on Crossbones' machine gun, we did manage to get through that one. So that is another playthrough of Marvel Champions in the books. I definitely liked how both of their decks performed. I'll probably bring these out again as is. I haven't decided when yet, though. But, yeah, that was our last playthrough for the month, so it's also about time for another monthly recap. That'll be later in the week. I'm expecting tomorrow night, but don't hold me to that. Sunday we're playing game number 9 on my TACUP Wargaming list, Space Empires 4X. And next week, we're playing Twilight Inscription. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.